Don't let me catch your hand on me. Don't let me, yank you'd be all tangled up. Ladies and gentlemen, okay, so, William Raspberry. There was a girl he saw in the skyscraper next door through this one window in the floor above his own. He wanted to talk to her after he saw her stretched like a cat in her chair. He didn't think to just wait for her outside the entrance to her skyscraper. William Raspberry's thinking was different. He thought he'd take a stapler and stab a hole in her office window. Then he'd get like a harpoon gun and shoot a rope across to her office window and then climb over. One day, William Raspberry was standing at his office window with Peter Patterson. They looked a little funny the way they'd gotten in the moment, both with hands clasped and shoulders thrown back like soldiers. They were both not looking at one another as they talked, and were instead looking out the window into the skyscraper across the way at the girl who stretched like a cat, whose back was to them as she was engrossed in her computer.
So, what do you think of my idea?
William asked Peter. Peter chuckled. Very creative. Harpoon guns sound cool, but just go downstairs at 5 o'clock one day and wait for her outside the entrance to her skyscraper. William nodded. Peter chuckled. Try and climb over there, you'd fall and die. William nodded.
I don't want to die.
Peter chuckled. No, you don't. William nodded.
Not over a girl.
Peter chuckled, and his speaking slowed and became wise. No, not at all in this age of the earth, William Raspberry. The girl who stretched like a cat in her chair felt a warmth on her back just then and thought maybe the sun was broiling her window. Then, 1 week later, Peter caught William standing at the same office window. William had a stapler clutched in one hand and was about to stab the window. William, Peter cried, but William mumbled something that sounded like, never mind, and stabbed the window. A 5-foot-long and 3-foot wide shard of glass lifted from the pane and fell. Peter and William were still. After a moment, there came faint screams from the street far below. William, what have you done? Peter cried. But then Peter spied the harpoon gun leaning against the desk just as William went to pick it up. William, Peter cried, but William mumbled something that sounded like boom and put the harpoon gun to his shoulder. William, I know you're tired, Peter cried. William, I thought we were friends, Peter cried. But William pulled the gun's big trigger. The girl who stretched like a cat in her chair was throwing her head and shoulders over the back of her chair in a particularly enthusiastic stretch when William's harpoon came crashing through her office window and embedded itself in her office wall. She started up, then took a moment to register the harpoon in her wall with its rope trailing out the hole in her window. She went to the window and peered out. William stood at the hole in his window. The two regarded one another through the wind between the skyscrapers. There were more faint screams from the street far below. Okay, William, the girl called. She knew his name. and his idea from a note and the flowers he'd sent. "Give me a minute, William," she called, "and pull the rope taut." Okay, so I'm Guy J. Jackson. I got 3